All right. Well, welcome back to another 4C Group podcast where we talk about all things Park City. The 4C Group, our passion is creating a luxury client experience. So if you're passionate about high-end real estate, thoughtful development, or simply love the Park City lifestyle, you're in the right place. Today's guest is a true innovator in changing the way car collectors live, connect, and showcase their passion. He's the co-founder of the Wheelhouse Motor Club, a private car and social club redefining automotive culture right here in Park City. Welcome, Jake Wolf, to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate the warm introduction.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a super fun episode because a lot of who we've had on is, we've had, developers, big real estate agents, but what we're really trying to do, as we talked about, is it's all things Park City in this luxury lifestyle, which, to me, learning about, what the Wheelhouse Motor Club's all about, I think you fit right into that. And, well, obviously we're going to get into a lot about what your passions are. So this episode, we're kind of coining it where supercars meet social club building lifestyle with Jake Wolf. So
I like it. Yeah.
So that's you, right?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what we do here at the 4C Group. We're helping people build a lifestyle, right? That's what it comes about. So, little background. So, my first introduction to the Wheelhouse, I think, was probably about, I'm trying to think. So, was through Cars and Cocktails at Promontory. It was when they used to have it up at the soccer field. I think it was the first event before they moved it to the Nick. I'm thinking that was 3 or 4 years ago.
Three
years ago, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the introduction to the Wheelhouse. And I just saw it come through because I've been a member at Promontory forever. And I was like, man, this thing pretty interesting. I just want to come check it out. I've always, I'm not a gearhead, but I really appreciate, well-designed things. And I think, supercars, sports cars fit right into what that is. I've never really owned one. My passion one day is to get there one day. That's why I joined the Wheelhouse, is to kind of get involved a little bit more there. But, it was a super fun thing. And I think at the time I didn't quite even understand what the hell you guys were doing, right? It was like, it was just like a bunch of cars up there and this, and, it said the Wheelhouse. And I was like, what's this all about? But that was really my first introduction to it. And then, you had one the year after, never really made the connection with what you were kind of doing behind the scenes. At the time I didn't office out of this Park East location. So I didn't really know what, the scale of what you were trying to build there. So that was kind of my personal first introduction to the Wheelhouse, is just kind of like, man, what are these crazy guys doing with this car club in Park City? And now kind of finding out, Park City is a pretty big car place, right? There's a lot of car things happening. So
for sure.
So really like to start maybe just with a little history about yourself. So kind of take us back a little bit, background on you. Reading some history, read an article, talked about when you were younger, you were really into collectible clothing, streetwear. Not really. That wasn't really my thing. So I don't even really know what that means. Maybe tell us a little bit about that. And then I know you obviously had a passion for cars. It sounds like really about Lamborghini kind of when you were younger, and kind of had some things about that. So maybe just kind of tell us a little history, background, kind of what, gave you this vision that helped kind of kick this off.
Yeah, for sure. Now, and everybody always asks me, where do I come from? Or do I come from a family with Ferraris and Lamborghinis everywhere? And I wish. That sounds fun. But no, so I grew up, I was in Ohio when I was really young, and then grew up mostly in Charlotte, North Carolina, and NASCAR country, muscle car country.
Okay.
And all my family's from Ohio, both sides. And so very like kind of blue collar family. And really who got me into cars, we'll kind of start with that, was my grandpa. My grandpa, had all the stories of, I had a GTO back in the day. I had a Corvette, and then, I had to pay for your dad's college kind of thing. So he'd always show me pictures. He was just so passionate about it and kind of spot things out when I was a little kid. So I think I got it from him, and that definitely like, went to my dad and his brothers too. But no, the Ferrari and Lamborghini thing, I think came out of video games, movies, just seeing them. They were so like foreign, obviously, and exotic and so out there, like UFOs, and being in Charlotte, North Carolina, you never ever saw them. So it just became this weird obsession as a little elementary school kid, where like literally my first ever spreadsheet was tracking Diablo values, and how they were going down. And I told my dad, you should, did not care the slightest about them, but he was like, you should really buy these, 'cause this is good. And I think they were like 60,000 at the time when I was in 4th grade doing these spreadsheets.
Yeah. Which is like probably 300,000 or 400,000 in today's dollars.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, for sure. They've grown quite a bit. So anyways, cars, consistently throughout my childhood, and then into going on the clothing thing, like went to high school, come from a football family. My dad played football in college. I aspired to do the same. So I was just working hard playing football, and then was fortunate enough to play in college, but was not, somebody who was going to go to the league. Yeah. So quickly,
you weren't like a top D1 athlete pick.
No, I was at a D1 school and I could hold my own, but, I was with a bunch of NFLers, and I was playing with them, and again, could hold my own, but I knew I wasn't going to take that next step, to the league. So I saw kind of people in in a similar position to me. And, it's football 24/7 when you're in college, if you're playing it. So I was like, I should probably figure out what I want to do after this. That seems like a better use of my time. So I stopped playing halfway through college. And then, one of my buddies started telling me about like Supreme, and like I grew up skateboarding and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of like clothing, but I wasn't super into it. And he's like, oh, I made $500 a month, like flipping this stuff. I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. College kid. And so I took that, started doing that, and then started building on what I could do and how much like inventory. And at first just started with Supreme, but, would send out like proxies to different places where they were dropping. There are different locations in the US and around the world, bring them in, buy for $1, sell for $2 kind of thing. So I expanded that into just like archival fashion, designers, a little bit of watches. That's what I thought I was going to do after college. I was going to start a retail store. It was going to be like all these like scarce, rare, cool things. And I wanted to integrate cars into it, but quickly realized after college how expensive a retail store is and how not profitable it is, or at least for a while. So went back to square one, and I was in Miami at this time now. And
so this is graduate college, moved to Miami. This was the spot where you're going to fulfill that dream, open the retail store.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause I didn't want to work, for a corporation or anything. I wanted to do something on my own. I figured I knew how to make money on my own by that point. I could do it. So then I kind of went back to square one. I was still selling clothing and stuff, but, going to car shows, and Miami's the spot for supercars and everything. So I was the nerd, like knocking on people's doors and asking what they have and if they like it and all this kind of stuff. And at the time I was looking at buying my own car. So it was overly nerdy with these people. And it got to the point where they're like, hey, so much, why don't you help me find a car or help me sell my car? And so then I kind of dipped into car brokering while I was still in clothing. Okay. And then that's where Wheelhouse came about.
So started doing car brokering in Miami. That started getting the wheels turning. Like, now how can you make that into a real business? And so what's that leap from being a car broker, which, I mean, that's basically what, like selling cars, right? I mean, you just sell, kind of on the, not out of a retail store. Mm-hmm. What's the jump that's like, hey, I want to have this. I'm sure that, I guess that's what we're going to talk about, is the evolution of Wheelhouse, right? Because there's a big jump from just selling cars to what you've created at Wheelhouse. And I think reading one of the, articles that you did, it talks about, this is one of the investors, I think, is in Park City. You tell me if the story is right? One of the investors in Park City basically he found out about you because of you're doing the car sales and all those things, you know, and he wanted to basically pick your brain to help him. He recently sold a company, right? Made a bunch of money. Found out about you and wanted your insight onto, hey, help me build a car collection or find a car. Or what was that?
Basically. Yeah. So like what happened was I was selling exotic cars and I was going in, you're in Miami and some of the biggest collections in the world sit there. Right.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, give me like how big was your car brokerage, you know, your business back?
Not very big. And I was still doing clothing, like primarily. So, you know, you sell a car every once in a while is just a nice little check to bring back. And to be honest with you, I liked helping source and selling cars that I was really excited about. But like, if I wasn't excited about it, I didn't love doing it. And yeah, just not my thing. I don't know. I'm not like the broker type. I don't think so. Yeah.
It was a passion project, right? You really just loved doing it.
Yeah. And so anyways, but I was looking to do something more and more fulfilling for sure. And so I was going to these collections all the time, and some were like, storage companies, these warehouses that they just pack hundreds of cars into the big dusty warehouse. And that was about it. If they had a lounge, it was a couch and a Keurig machine and a TV. And then the others were a bunch of private warehouses where somebody, whether they built the place out nicely or not, they had amazing cars in it. But I didn't understand at the same time, being a young 20-something-year-old in Miami, having a lot of fun and all these different, entertainment venues around the beach, is why wouldn't you take all these passionate people that are spending real dollars towards their passion, and why don't you create a lifestyle for them that's more than just going to Cars and Coffee every weekend? So that was, how can I take a space and integrate all these different passion types that they like, not just cars, but art, watches, travel, and do something. So that's where Wheelhouse came about. That's when my now investor heard about what I was doing. Flew me out and kind of pitched him and two others, and we bought a lot a month later. Yeah.
So when he flew out to meet, at the time, the investor, he thought he was just going to meet you. You're going to help him start to curate a car collection for himself. And then back of your head, you're like, as you're talking to the guy, you're like, hey, I got a really good idea for you.
Well, it was like,
how did that happen?
Yeah, it was like a mix of both, because my other investor was like the one that set this up, because he had just met him. And so he had already said, hey, Jake is going to do this thing down in Miami. Okay.
So but already kind of plans in Miami was to start to build that.
Yeah. Cause basically what had happened, I was going to bootstrap something like a 10th of what Wheelhouse is now. But the lease fell through. So I was kind of just figuring out things. And, so he proposed like, hey, Jake's talking about doing this thing, you should hear him out on it, 'cause maybe it will work in Park City, but also, if nothing else, Jake could like provide insight or help you grow your car collection. Nice. So I think like I took it as free trip to Park City. Like, maybe I'll help this guy. I didn't think anything of it. I'd grown up coming out here to ski and then mountain bike. But I did not think that there was a bunch of supercars out here or anything at the time. So I was pretty skeptical going into it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, even at that first meeting, were you still, you still didn't know what was happening in Park City, or was it like, these guys are like, hey, you have no idea what's happening here, or what?
A little bit of that. And at this time, I hadn't been to Park City in 5-6 years, because I was in college playing football and getting my career started. So I saw the change when I got here. And outside of just the development and how different Park City looked, there was cars driving around. And so they were telling me, hey, Park City's really changing and it's going to continue to change. And they seemed really excited about the concept. So, it was a pretty quick market research when I got home back to Miami of like, how many cars are out here? What kind of dealerships are out here? Do I think I can support it? And thank God we did, because it's worked out. And then COVID just blew up Park City.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. That was what, about 2018?
2019 November.
Okay. So you met them 19 and then basically
Yeah.
a month later found this property right over here.
Yeah.
Which is, great place. And then walk through a little bit of that process of you got the investors and then how did you really come up with this vision for how the warehouse is today? Because obviously you had to meet with architects and, interior designer, however that went through that process and sort of evolve what you created.
Yeah. Yeah. They had a lot of faith in me because I've never built anything like physically a building. And we quickly, like I did another trip out here. I got a temporary condo in Kimball and we were looking for buildings. There was just zero, nothing that was big enough from a square footage perspective. And mind you, at this time, we were talking about a pretty automated, like our first websites were like automated social club or whatever. But it was like 30 to 50 cars and a 2,000 square foot social club that we activate once or twice a month. And other than that, you're parking your own cars. It's like couple employees, much, much different. So at the time I thought I needed minimum 15,000 square feet, maybe a little bit more. Couldn't find anything. So at that point we said, hey, we need to build. And so that's when we bought the lot. And then we started designing out the space. And then, COVID hit and then screwed up our, everything basically. Permitting took forever. And then supply chain issues once we were actually able to start, and obviously budgets skyrocketed and everything. So that alone, just like the time frame difference from what we originally expected to what turned out, and then the budget kind of forced us to change the business model a little bit to drive more revenue and make it a little bigger. And I think in August of 2020 is when we first publicly announced Wheelhouse and started taking pre-memberships. And within the first month, I would have sold out the 30 cars. So we were like, all right, we feel good about this. Let's expand it. So that went from 15,000 square foot warehouse to taking over the whole building that we're in right now, which is 30. And we house 86 cars. And instead of a 2,000 square foot social club that's self-use, it's 8,500 square foot social club with a restaurant in it.
Yeah. Well, you kind of spoiled my next question was,
okay.
Sorry. What was the moment you knew this was going to work? And it sounds like pretty much like when you started the design, you're thinking 15,000, blah, blah. And you're like, let's go pre-sell some memberships. And literally in 30 days, you had 30 memberships sold. And you're like, okay, this is on. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't say that I knew it was going to work, but I was, it at least gave me kind of like a breath of confidence. And certainly so to build the rest of the space out. So yeah. And that's what we continued to do throughout the whole building process. And I mean, we didn't open till December 2023. So it was almost 4 years from the time that we bought the lot till we opened. So we had a lot of time. And we continued to pre-sell memberships. We started our signature event series, which is trips around the world. So we're able to at least do some stuff with our members and get some feedback. And luckily we have some really awesome founding members. And I just took as much feedback as I could. So, the restaurant is something that I never intended of having. I've never worked in a restaurant my whole life. But we wanted a bar. And having a bar license in Utah is pretty hard. So restaurant license was the easiest way to have booze. And so, that's something that my partners pushed me on. And I'm super glad that they did. Because without it, I wouldn't have done it. And that's a huge, pretty core part of our membership now.
Yeah. I mean, this is awesome. I love the core story of the evolution of the warehouse, because literally every step was built out of necessity, right? You
totally
couldn't find it. And it kind of, I kind of go back to my own entrepreneurial, I immediately when I even through, elementary school, junior high, I was always like building models. I was always trying to talk my teacher into, instead of having me write an essay, I'm going to build a model of the Globe Theater because I don't, want to read this book or something. So there's all these trade-offs and, all those things kind of that build through life. And, part of it is like the minute I got my architecture license, which you have to, go through school and, get a master's degree and internship, I was like, man, I am out on my own doing it. And it was always this matter of necessity, right? Yeah, I'm now responsible to put food on my own table, right?
Totally.
And get in a family and married and kids. And that just kept growing and growing, that responsibility. And, and this is, part of the 4C Collaboration Center that we're shooting the podcast in. Part of that was this evolution. We could not find a space in Park City that we thought represented who we were as a company.
Sure.
And so we're like, let's build it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the obvious thing to do. And so, I love hearing that story, and it's just, everything created out of passion and vision. I think, that just breeds success. And hearing you talk about all the things you're passionate about, I mean, there's no wonder that it's so successful what you're doing. So, with that said, kind of walk us through the vibe of the club and how it's more than just car storage.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that's totally evolved because, like I said in the beginning, when we were first pitching it, it was basically a car storage facility with a social club, and we're preaching to car people. That has really changed to now it is a social club that happens to have a car storage facility. The majority of our memberships are there, do not have cars with us. They're members of the club for what we're doing in the club, and we're doing such a broader range of events and focus types on these different passions than what I even envisioned. So, I mean, we did an art event last week with Kimball Arts Center. You were there. We do wine tastings all the time. We bring in a guest chef once a month, on top of the Sunday drives and the rallies and all the other things that we're doing. So it's evolved into this kind of like country club kind of environment, or clubhouse at a country club type of environment, but centered around enthusiasts. So I don't care if you're the biggest car person in the world or you really don't care. We are going to do something that you're going to get excited about. And what is that passion type that excites you? So like I keep on mentioning cars, art, watches, food and dining, travel, skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking, motorcycles. We kind of cover all of that. And so now we're seeing a much broader range of people coming through the club. A lot of people don't have huge car collections or interested in it like you. And we've been able to, not only get a lot of those people, we've converted people into car people that now have cars coming that are really excited. And we've done the same with car people that have never had cool watches or cool art. Now
they're kind of converting over. Yeah. No, I think it's great. I love the idea of this very curated luxury. I'm going to use the word luxury. That means different things to different people, but luxury social club, right? And it just happens to be wrapped around these cars. I think the cars, like from my experience, like I said, I don't own a supercar or a sports car, but being in the warehouse, it's like, oh man, this is something that I've always thought was cool. And, maybe joining here, this may be something that I get involved in. You never know, right? But it's fun to be I love well-crafted things. As being an architect, I love well-crafted houses. You talk about watches, you talk about art, which I'm not a massive art collector, but I appreciate art. And it was like a super fun event. It was small. But some of the comments, like, what makes good art is like something that, I think even maybe your dad said, it's like something that makes you stop and like, it does something for you personally. Who cares if it does something? And I think cars are a lot of those same things.
Totally.
And I think, we'll talk a little bit about, like the future of your plans, but I think it's almost like you couldn't have found a better spot for what you're doing when you're talking about all these things. Like Park City has become this crazy hub, this melting pot where, like, we have all these developments, we do tons of projects, I have your Promontories, your Tuhays, your Marcellas, your Glen Wilds, right? All these people, hardly anybody's a native Utah and let alone a native Park Cityan or Park Cityite, whatever.
Parkite.
Parkite.
Yeah.
but you have all these people, and it's a very, you know, high wealth, you know, environment, you know, all these people are building, you know, and so I feel like you kind of hit that sweet spot, and, you know, hopefully it's successful as you scale the brand. But I think like what you did and the timing, and, you know, there's always luck involved when there's success, right? And it's like, man, this thing is like perfectly fit and curated for, you know, what's happening in the Park City world. Like what was great is like the art event was super, I don't know, there may have been like 20 people there, but it was super cool. And literally I ran into 2 past clients, one that I haven't seen for 4 years. I had no idea he was a member of the club.
Yep.
And the other one, I kind of knew he was there, but it was like, holy crap. And we start talking about art and this and, you know, their houses. And, you know, I'm like, what cars do you have? And it's just, there's so many, it's like you say, it's just not a car club. It's a social club. And I think that's something that, was a need for Park City, and obviously due to the success. So
yeah, I mean, just to have these similar bonds over these passions, it makes those connections so much easier. And we're able to do an event that's an intimate, pretty nerdy event about art, but you can really connect with somebody and understand them. And then like the flip side of that event is our opening was more of a party, and we had 100 people, and then it's super social, but you're meeting people in the same way. So it's fun because of the scale that we're now getting to do things outside of cars, but also be able to do really fun, intimate stuff that's like highly curated, but also just kind of big blowouts that are just fun and gives people in Park City an opportunity to come out and do something different.
Yeah. And I was going to say, one of the things I'm starting to enjoy, because I know I've only been a member there for a few months, but, I was like kind of intimidated to go to a couple of these events right out of the gate, right? Like thinking, you know, very high end car, this, you know, whatever. And I think one of the first events I went to was like a wine tasting thing that was awesome. And it's really like, you know, we use this sort of like the no asshole policy, but every there is super nice, super inviting, very unpretentious, which, you know, I think a lot of people from the outside are going to think, oh man, what a pretentious place to go and hang out. And, you know, and I've been involved, you know, in the, you know, the luxury, you know, residential market in Park City for, you know, over 20 years. And I don't know, as I felt like a little nervous going to the first event there, and it was, you know, it was amazing. And like, you know, bringing my wife now, when my kids are in town, they're at school, like, they love going over there for lunch and hanging out and bringing their friends. Like they're like, yeah, let's go to lunch at the Warehouse. And it's just awesome to have that access and see that and how nice. I mean, your staff there is amazing, and it's great. So, so with that kind of goes in, and we talked about a little bit, but how do you curate not just cars, but people and experiences, right? You talked a lot about some of those things you're doing, but really it's not like you say, it happens to be a social club, it's car club. So you're really curating people and experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're creating a lifestyle. I mean, that's what Wheelhouse is. And you kind of hit on it. I think we're just lucky to be in Park City as part of it. The people that are coming in for membership have been so awesome. We have a really, really cool group of members at Wheelhouse that are so passionate about plenty of different things, but they want to learn more. They want to meet more people. So it just fostered this really fun community where so many friendships are being made. There's business relationships being made, which I love to see. So it's really cool. And I think that will be, as we expand into different cities, maybe our vetting's going to have to be a little tougher, depending on where we're going. So yeah, but from an experience perspective, it's all feedback. Like, we listen so much to our members, and at the end of the day, that's what we do. We have to hyper serve our members with a level of excellence that they expect. Right. So that's what we do. And, you know, if we had a member in April that's like, I'm from Louisiana, I want to do a crawfish boil. Like, okay, let's try it. 150 people show up. It was awesome. Wow. Super fun. Hey, I want to take adventure bikes through the Continental Divide. I've done 3 of those now.
Oh, wow.
So it's just listening to what members want to do, and, you know, how can we leverage our staff and our knowledge base to put on these really fun events, whether they're in-house or something outside of Utah, even, that you wouldn't have the time to put on. So it's all about how can we provide for just like really cool bucket list opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool. Like, I know you guys do these Sunday, basically every week, right? Sunday drive, right? That's kind of a pretty standard thing on the event calendar. And, you know, when I was, you know, at a couple events talking to people, and everybody that has cars there, I was talking, I'm like, man, that sounds so much fun. I don't know. They're like, dude, if you want, just come with me. Like, totally. Literally everybody I mentioned that to was like, hey, if you want to jump in, like, you're more than welcome to come for a ride,
which is so cool, right?
Yeah, I thought it was amazing, right? And everybody wants to tell you about their car, why they, you know, so passionate about it. You know, you got your Porsche guys, your Lambo, your Ferrari, and your McLaren, right? And I think it's pretty fun to like kind of be an outsider and see that. But let's talk a little. So you have like, we know we do the rally, the weekly kind of Sunday drives, which is awesome. And then you talked a little bit about, but you've done some European rallies.
Yep.
Like let's see, like what's been the favorite events so far, or like what are some of the incredible, you know, past events or future events that you see that are really stand out?
Yeah. I think like in-house, I mean, people love our Sunday drives. I mean, it started as, hey, I just want to go on a drive, with some buddies. And I used to tell my team, if we have 8 cars, I'm excited. That makes for a fun group. We're at like 40 every drive now. It's huge. You see us coming. So it's a little different, but it's still really, really fun. So the Sunday drives are huge. They're just super easy to put on. People love the live music, our steak nights at the club, which is just regular programming. But then our guest chef events, people really get excited about in the club, fly somebody in, do an omakase experience with a Michelin star guy, do something really fun. But outside of the club, we do typically a signature event a quarter. And by signature event, it's like a big trip outside of Utah. So we've done Euro twice, our Euro rally. Just came back a couple months ago from our latest one. So we traveled through 6 different countries, Ferraris, Lambos. We had a roof, which was really cool. Very one-off kind of Porsche. But just going to amazing scenery, going to great cities, eating great food, and driving great roads is what that's about. We've done Formula 1. We've done race school. We just came back from our fall rally the other week where we went through Montana on some of the best roads I've ever driven. We fly fished. Just an opportunity to people to see different things around the world.
Sounds like you might have to up the yoga experience, maybe get some personal trainers so we can stay healthy with all these food and drinking events.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We actually are, we have our weekly wellnesses, but there's a lot. It's funny because I was literally just left Warehouse and we were talking about, I just planned our 2026 signature event. So we were going through that, but,
any surprises? Can you?
We're going to Japan.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be really, really cool. So taking a break for 1 year from Euro, but, I'm really stoked on that, but, some really cool, I mean, it's going to be our best.
So they're all going to be like Toyota, high hopped up Toyota, like supercars.
So we can do modern or vintage Japanese cars.
Okay.
Which would be really sick. Or you could do Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini, whatever you want to do.
Nice.
But just crazy places, crazy stays, cool experiences. And, and then just beyond that, the events that we have for next year are going to be crazy.
Yeah. So what's one thing your members have asked for that totally surprised you?
Food.
The food.
Yeah, for sure. In the beginning, that's easily the biggest surprise of this whole thing is in the beginning, I knew I wanted a bar so you could have a cocktail. You know, I thought it was going to be used like from a more daily perspective outside of events of, somebody's going to come in, they're going to want to like bring their friends, grab a cocktail, walk around the showroom and just kind of leave, like hang out, maybe have some snacks. So our first restaurant menu was a few sandwiches and we got a really awesome wood-fired pizza oven from Italy. So it was sandwiches, pizza, and like an appetizer. That quickly turned into people like, no, we want a full menu. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we did. And now we have a really awesome kitchen staff. We rotate our menus every season. We have specials every week. So the restaurant has been super surprising. And that's kind of like the glue that holds the membership together outside of, when we take events out of it, like, why are you coming to Warehouse? It's to come in, still walk around the showroom, show your guests around, but have a great meal.
I mean, I tell you, for me, that's one of the great amenities is that lunch service.
Yeah.
Like being over here and having clients, like I love taking clients over there for lunch.
Yeah.
And like every time you take somebody that's never been in the warehouse, they're blown away.
Yeah.
They're like, what is this?
Yeah. That's my favorite reaction.
It's awesome.
A lot of people ask me why it's called warehouse, and it's because of that.
Yeah.
It's, if you know, it's a big old warehouse. I want to just say warehouse. So if you don't know, you just keep driving, right? And you like, it's a beautiful building, but you walk inside and even the lobby is nondescript.
It is like you walk in, it's almost like you're like dropping off your car at like muffler shop.
Yep.
Like little desk and door. And you got some concrete stairs and yeah.
And then you either walk into the showroom and people's eyes light up, or you walk upstairs and there's immediately cars glassed in.
Yeah.
Like,
which I think that's how I take people when I go to lunch. I'm like, let's go to lunch, take them up the stairs. And then they're like blown away, and I kind of look around, show them the bar and the art gallery, and say, let's have lunch. And I said, after lunch, you want to go walk around that? Like, we can walk around down there. We can go walk around.
Yeah. No, it never ceases to amaze me. Cause like literally almost every day some guest comes through and you just see their face, and it's
awesome.
I
mean, that as a owner, and founder of that, like, that's amazing. That's gotta be like the best feeling ever.
Oh, right? It's incredible. And also just like hats off to our members for like, we really encourage people to like, hey, if you have large collections, if you have cars in here, like rotate them through, like show different pieces of your collection, and members really take that to heart. So the showroom looks different on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
There's always new cars in there. All of our art partners, Julie Nestor Gallery, Relevant Galleries. And then if we're working with an artist for a show upstairs, the art's changing. It's just a cool dynamic space. So I just never want it to feel stagnant. And thankfully we've been able to execute on that.
Yeah. And I love the fact you have like motorcycles in there. Like to me, that I love, a well-crafted motorcycle. So that's awesome. So with all that, like the success, how do you see Wheelhouse evolving not only here over the next, let's say 3 to 5 years, but any expansion plans?
Yeah. In Park City, we're getting close to our membership cap. We're almost there. I think probably by the end of the year, first quarter next year, we're there. So I want to fill it up with great people. Regardless if you're into cars or just interested or want to have a really cool place to hang out in Park City, we want to have you. So I'm anxious to see that continue to grow. And then for the members I just want to keep on, how do I improve every department, events, restaurant, vehicle operations, signature events? How can we continue to just provide an awesome level of excellence? And we're doing watch sales is a new thing that we're going into, which I'm really excited about. Yeah. So like, that's going to be a fun new chapter for us. So it's fun to like seems like every 6 months we find like this new thing that like a member comes in, hey, you should really do this. And I want to help you do it. And we put some fire behind it and see if other people like it. And if so, like, let's do something fun. So I'm excited to see like Wheelhouse is so different now than where it was even a year ago. And we're doing things that I didn't expect we'd be doing a year ago. So I'm excited to see what that evolution looks like. But outside of Park City, we do plan to expand. So, couple more locations around the States and key destinations, which I think would be really fun if you're a Wheelhouse member in Park City or a member at all. So these should be all cities that, our kind of clientele is frequenting, whether it's for personal or business or just events, in these other cities. So I'm excited to see that and, see if we can replicate this thing.
Any cities that you can say maybe that might be, or is that still top secret?
It's like semi-secret.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Florida, Texas, and California.
Okay.
Now. Yeah.
All right. That seems to be a logical choice. So if I'm a Wheelhouse member in Park City, and let's just say you end up doing a warehouse in Austin, and I'm going there for something, am I able to go there and grab some lunch and see is it all going to be reciprocal?
Like all reciprocal, like the Soho House
model,
right?
That's
so
awesome.
You go in and, if there's an awesome event happening there, you can go there. Vice versa. If we have an awesome winter ice rally like we've done in the past, and somebody in Texas or California or Florida wants to get cold with us, they can come here.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be pretty fun, and there's nobody really nobody's doing what we're doing in a town like Park City. So that's what's really
that's what I love. Like that, it's not a Miami or whatever. It's a much smaller venue, and and I think that's one of the reasons why you have such a great membership here. So
100%.
So when let's kind of go back a little. So when someone first joins the warehouse, what's the first experience you want them to have?
That's a good question. First experience when somebody first joins, or they come in?
Yeah. If somebody like, what's that?
When they first join, I want them to feel pride of being a member.
Okay.
And the first time they come in, let's just say without an event, first time they come in, and let's say usually they come in with guests, I want you to come in and be filled with pride because you're a member of this really cool club, and we have a staff that's going to really treat you well. And my goal, and what I'm preaching to my staff all the time, is if you're a member at Wheelhouse, you should walk out of this place feeling like $1 million, right? So that's how I want you to feel just coming in and using the club. But my hope for you is you start coming to some of the events, and then you put yourself in the community, and I promise you're going to make some friends and some really cool people. So just encouraging people to really get involved, and even those that are kind of timid, but they eventually, bridge that gap and start coming to these events. They're some of our regulars. It's really cool. Yeah.
And I think it's a great option too, because not everybody wants to live in a promontory or a Glen, right? They don't want that. They want to be, out, in Francis or in the prison, or maybe in Old Town. And so I think this is a great option to have a social club aspect to their lifestyle in Park City.
Totally. It's just different. It just is. Park City is such an amazing world-class place, and we have world-class country clubs, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we're doing and we're focusing on things that other people aren't. And we're providing real energy. I want Wheelhouse to just have a different energy about it than, the more tourist driven and expected Park City, if that makes sense.
I agree. So, obviously we've kind of said Park City now is a car town, right? That's kind of been justified with what you're doing, but it's also a huge outdoor active lifestyle town. So how do you see those two cultures blending, and is Wheelhouse, is that kind of part of the vision too?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the adventure bike and dirt bike stuff that we do has become a big thing. People really love it. Young Power Sports is starting to support us on that front too, which is really cool to see. We've done some really fun ski trips as well. One of the events next year might be a heli skiing experience, either in Alaska or Canada. So we're doing that. But I'm always trying to see how can we get our members out and using the amazing geography that we have around us, right? Yeah. So whether that's on wheels or not, let's get out and do something really fun. So we just instilled this off-track program, we call it. It's off the track, but it's not cars. So it could be dirt biking, it could be mountain biking, it could be fly fishing, it could be wakeboarding the Jordanelle, or doing a shooting experience. So I'm excited to see how that grows too.
Yeah, I know there's an event coming up that I think is a camping overnight experience, and it's bring anything with wheels.
Yep. Yeah. Right? Bring anything. Yeah. We're doing it in Swing Arm City, which is one of my favorite places in Utah. Just like a natural skate park for anything with rubber on it. But yeah, I mean, I'm bringing the Lamborghini Storado, the off-road Lambo. We got off-road Porsches coming, but dirt bikes, UTVs, mountain bikes, literally anything. This place eats it up, and it's just, I thought it would be kind of fun. Throw an event out there. It's free. Just bring whatever you got. We're going to have an RV with food and our chefs, and just come hang with us.
That's amazing. That's a fun experience. So one of the things that, kind of, I think brought us together is, so obviously our office is kind of adjacent to where you guys are at. And we happen to own the property across the street. And the reason why we bought that is we knew we were going to need more parking, but it's just under a 2-acre lot. And, we're like, well, we don't want to just build a parking lot. We were really trying to figure out, we want to be good developers, good stewards toward the development, and kind of make something that's unique in the neighborhood, such that like you did with the warehouse. And we were really picking our brain. And, one of the agents that I know you work with and does a lot of work in in, Park East and this Park City development is, talked about like, man, this whole warehouse thing's going off. And because originally we were just like, hey, let's just do some 30 by 60, live, work, blah, blah, same thing as Park East 3. And he's like, yeah, that's a dime a dozen, right? Like you never know what you're going to get. You don't know what kind of, anybody's going to buy it. If you're going to get a plumber or, or whoever living there or renting it out. And so it was like, we really like what we did here and we want to protect this investment. And, one of the things that came up was like, there's this awesome car culture here. There's a warehouse. You guys are full. And we thought, man, wouldn't this be great if we could curate a very exclusive, something that's, right now it kind of ended up being 4 units. And, really we're kind of curating around kind of a very similar thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a car collector, but that was kind of the focus. So we could at least start the design process. And I know we kind of have a loosely casual collaboration that we're working on. And, one of the things is, we're going to offer some of that to Warehouse members. And so, real quick, just kind of we haven't released it to anybody, but wanted to just bring up a couple images, just kind of show what it is. Maybe you could talk a little bit about it. Totally. One of the things that we're going to do is probably offer, out to exclusive members of the Warehouse first, but it's going to be something that's open to the general market to buy, but, very curated space. Think it ties in well with what we did here at the Forsey Group. You have, in between us, there's a racing team. I don't know all the details, but a very, very cool thing, what's happening, but really trying to elevate, from a developer standpoint, what Park City is and do something that's special and means something and it's well designed. So I don't know if you want to bring that up. So it kind of shows, the adjacencies to the warehouse, obviously the building in the center, that's the 4 units that, we'd be curating. And really what it is there, instead of making them, those 30 by 60, we kind of collaborate. He said, hey, what does a car enthusiast want? If somebody's going to want to do this and it has a car collection of, 15 cars, you have to have the adequate space to make that work. Yep. And so one of the things that we did is, as opposed to trying to cram it in there, we said, hey, let's spread it out, give these units some room, space them out. There's really 4 units, the 2 end units, basically about 6,000 square feet. The 2 middle units are around 5,000 square feet. If you go to the next slide, that's kind of showing a mezzanine view down with the cars. But if you click next, it's kind of showing, it's really kind of taking a concept where if somebody wants to have, take their collection to that next level, they're able to kind of curate their own thing. And, one of the things we've talked about is, hey, if somebody's really wanting to use it for this purpose with cars, hey, maybe there's something where you could come with the warehouse and your team could come and manage their collection.
Yeah, totally. Super easy. And we actually have a collector on site with a similar unit, which we're doing the same for. But I think you're nailing it here. Like you said, this development's really, really cool. And it's exciting to see it continue to grow and all these kind of cool different uses coming in. But if you are a car collector, if you have a decent sized collection, which I would say, 10 plus, these units just don't really solve your need, in most cases, if you have 1,500 square foot as a footprint or less, you're limited to 3 or 4 cars and they're probably packed in there pretty hard. So it's a lot of moving around versus every time I've had a collector come up to me about, hey, is there a private space that I can have more of my cars in? It's always, I need 10 to 20 cars to fill. So this is actually solving for that, which this street and Park City just doesn't have, and especially at the level that, you guys at 4C are gonna do with it. So I'm excited to see who kind of chomps on it, and for this to get out of the ground, because I think it's going to be a really awesome ad for car collectors in Park City.
Yeah, I mean, for us, what's super exciting is, our passion is luxury custom homes, luxury client experience, and kind of getting to bring all that experience of a luxury custom home, but now kind of blending it with, automotive lifestyle or, whatever somebody wants to do. I think for us, it's a great project. We think it's a beautiful building. I think, some of these units can hold up to 19, 20 cars. We kind of made room so there could be similar lift type systems in there. If you want to stack them, you're able to see your cars from the mezzanine, whether somebody wants to have, a high-end home, office space, which a lot of our clients, they own businesses, but, they're working remote when they come here. Or, hey, do they want to have their own wine collection, watch collection, nice lounge space, bar, golf simulator, right? There's so many opportunities that you can do with these spaces. And I think having it elevated, like you say, you don't see anything where people are elevating it to that level of finishes and lifestyle anywhere in Park City, I think. And so we're super excited about that. And, us having the experience where we're, doing architecture, interior design, and construction. I think obviously collaborating with you guys that if, there's a car collector and you've already built trust with them, I think that's a great opportunity. And as you say, I think it's great for somebody that has a car collection, 15, 20 cars, or hey, maybe it's 3 buddies that go in and they just have a passion for cars and watches, whatever, but they want to have their own, private space. So we're super excited about that. And hopefully you'll be hearing more about that. And so if there's any warehouse members listening, get with Jake. He's got some information on it and he can help facilitate anything there. But as part of this whole thing, I want to kind of ask you a few questions because we've kind of collaborated on, I think, a lot of the space and how it functions. And it was great input on what you've learned from the warehouse. And that's kind of, we kind of took some of that information to make sure these units will facilitate a great car collection. So that's amazing. So if you could design the ultimate private car storage experience, what would it look like for you?
I think number one is just a seamless logistics experience. And what I mean by that is you can pull cars out easily by yourself. That would be the biggest thing. Luckily, the way that I designed Warehouse, it's definitely not packed in. We don't sardine cars in there. Every car outside of obviously the cars on the lifts, you can pull out on your own. You don't need to move other cars.
Yeah.
That's huge. It makes it that much more convenient. And if I'm a guy that has a nice collection and I drive my stuff, or I just want to be able to look at it in a nice arrangement, that needs to happen. Because if you pack cars in, it is going to be such a hassle. And I know people that have garages like this, and it is such a pain to get that car out in the back that hasn't been started in 3 months to get that car out. Or just like, if you pack cars in, all of a sudden you're kind of like scraping past all these cars and you just don't get the same visual experience. And at the end of the day, these things are total works of art. And if you're doing a high-end space like this, they should be represented as such.
Yeah, that's a great point. And, I think that's always struggle is like how much square footage floor space can you allocate towards that? And I think that's one thing where we tried to, maybe give a little bit, but also be able to allow for, some storage because we all know, space in Park City is expensive. So, as you can see, like you're able to store, a good 8 to 10 cars on the floor, which have fairly easy access, but also if somebody has a more, a larger collection, right, you can store another 8 in these racks. And, that was part of, like talking with you and trying to come up with some kind of, hey, if somebody has this collection, you guys already have the staff that understands and the trust of how to move these cars around.
Totally.
Right? You can make a call and, hey, tomorrow morning, I want to take out my, F8 Ferrari, happens to be in the back. You guys can come over, move it around and have it in the front ready to go.
Yep.
Which I think is amazing.
Yeah, easy. And from the way that you're packaging the whole project, I think you're making it kind of seamless, right? From the time you buy it to the time you design it. And so that fits really well into that mold. A lot of these guys are busy. A lot of these guys are here for limited amounts of time, but they have cars here because we have some of the best driving roads in the world. And that is a fact. I will defend that every day. So anyways, but you want to make sure that that's, it's easy and your cars are serviced and they're going to start. Yeah. And that's what we do every day.
Yeah. So that's amazing. So one final question on kind of this experience. So do you envision, right now, codename Auto Haus for this project, envision, not only this project, but similar projects. What's the next evolution in lifestyle spaces, right? Like, you have your club, and we do custom residential, right? Those are on the side. Like, that's a big social club where you go, you have your private house. What do you see as this next evolution in these type of lifestyle? I'm going to call them lifestyle spaces, right? It's not a house. It's not at your club. Maybe like an elevated man cave, these for collectors, curators. Do you see these as standalone, part of estates? Like what do you kind of see? Like I have my own vision, what I've seen from people, but I think that's an interesting, construct. What, you get in these different areas of this wealth, like what do you see as that next evolution? Like people are going to want beyond the house, beyond the social club.
Yeah, no, totally. One thing that like I think is interesting, and I've seen different things happen like in the Northeast and then over in Europe, is like these kind of blend together, but like your own private like wellness spaces.
Yeah.
So kind of like a cabin, but maybe smaller, but more focused towards like, are you a creative? Is your artist studio going to be up there? Or are you going to have this like super Zen kind of, retreat that you're able to go to and detox for a week? But I think that stuff is getting really, really powerful. And I've seen some cool products, whether they're for personal use or a club centered around those. I mean, Kith just they're doing a membership club in New York that's a paddle, Miami paddle. But it's a club where you can play paddle with your friends, but then the spa is sponsored by Giorgio Armani. Erewhon is doing the food in the smoothie bar.
Yeah.
But I think that's really freaking cool. So that's something that I feel like is going to get some pressure in the next 10 years.
Yeah. I think that's great. I mean, like some of the big asks we're getting in like our homes is like the last home we did in Promontory, literally the whole lower level, 2,500 square foot, all wellness, all health, gym, cold plunge. I mean, that you never, other than super, super high end homes, but this is a, 7,000 square foot, Park City house.
Yeah.
You don't see that often.
Yeah.
So.
And I think like when we're talking about this kind of clientele and people with wealth and high powered people, that are, working their ass off every day, is, wellness is becoming a bigger piece of their life. And it's, if you feel good, it's like what we used to say in football, like you look good, you feel good, you play good, right?
Yeah.
So same thing if you're, a CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
No, I agree. That's great. And, and that's one of the reasons why, in this Auto Haus project, obviously, we designed that lower level for car storage and all that, but you have that mezzanine, which really could curate however you want. You want to do a gym, a yoga studio, sauna, or if you want lounge bar and drink wine and play poker. Either one works there. So, we're pretty excited. And, for me, that's just fun exploring, new architecture prototypes. And, I think as you found, I think Park City is a great market to do that. So, totally. So I have a fun little section here. I call this the lightning round. So think of these as fun little quick questions for the answer. So if you had to describe the warehouse in one sentence to someone who's never heard of it, what would you say?
Enthusiast club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite driving road in Utah?
Ooh, that's a good one. Locally, Wolf Creek, broader Utah, Highway 12, Skyline Drive.
Highway 12. Okay. Dream car you don't own yet?
Countach.
Lamborghini Countach?
Yeah. Countach and Miura are like the end all be all. I have that and I'm set.
I mean, I think that's the first car that really, when I was like in probably junior high, was that like, that was the ultimate, like,
it's the
crazy
poster car.
Yeah. It's the poster car.
I mean, Countaches were out of production by the time I was born, but I don't know. I'm a geek about that stuff and I just love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the value of a Countach these days?
It depends. So they made Countachs for 18 years or 17 or 18 years, which is like crazy.
Yeah. That's
super long production life. So there's so many iterations. They started in the 70s and ended in the 90s.
oh, wow. I didn't realize it was 70s.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like the first 70s, the Periscopo cars are super clean, like design forward, but on these skinny little tires. Versus the last one's like Horatio Pagani design. That's the one the red one that we have in the club.
Okay. Yeah.
It has like all the, fence and everything on it. So it depends. Minimum, you're looking at like 400,000 for like a pretty crappy one, to like 1.5, I think is the highest sale on a Countach.
Oh, that seems lower than I expected.
I think they still have a lot of room. Like Miuras were kind of in this same price point 10, 15 years ago. In fact, the first Miura and one of the first Lamborghinis I ever saw was in Charlotte, and it was a friend's dad's boss that had this car, and he's super excited because he sold his Miura SV to like the king of Switzerland or something crazy for like 600 grand. And we were there the day it was leaving. And he was so excited because that was like a huge number for back then. That's a $3.5-4 million car now.
All right.
So I think Countachs, there's more Countachs, but they're more iconic. They drive better than Miura. I think they're all going to be $1 million cars, and the rare ones are going to be over 2.
Wow. Yeah. So if a new member to the Warehouse that wants to get into, Sunday drives this, that, but doesn't have a car, what's your first and best recommendation
for a car?
Yeah.
If you want something vintage manual, I would either go air-cooled Porsche. Doesn't matter what year, to be honest with you, or a 360 Ferrari. If you're more into like exotic stuff, great power, super good transmission. If you want something modern, I do kind of the same thing. I get a 911. Doesn't matter the 911. And then I'd probably Huracan just went out. I'd maybe do a Huracan or like a 458. 458 Ferrari is like, you're going to have a great time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of up in scale price wise, right? So
a little bit. Yeah.
But worth it. Sounds like.
Totally worth it. Yeah.
I like it. Best soundtrack for a Canyon drive. I mean, I'm assuming you listen to music when you're driving.
Yeah, we do. Depends on the car. Some cars don't have radios. I don't know. It depends on the vibe, I think. Like we were just doing our Montana Western rally with all like cowboy hats on. So we were listening to like Western cowboy Spotify playlist versus.
So it depends on location.
Yeah. If I'm in Miami, I'm listening to like 90s rap.
Okay.
All
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd listen to that usually anyway, but
yeah.
Go to après ski or après drive drink. Don't say the Warehouse.
I won't say that. I haven't done après in a long time. I'm just busy on Sundays normally, but I do like the Vouv tent.
Okay, yeah.
I like the Vouv tent.
That would
Vintage
be my
room is fun, but it's like a little too. I had that phase of my life.
Yeah, that would be my 2 daughters would agree with you on that. They're obsessed with the Vouv tent.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty nice.
I love it.
Deer Valley's just. I'm a boarder, but Deer Valley does it better.
Yeah, Deer Valley does it right.
Yeah.
One car related indulgence you're unapologetic about.
I like some weird stuff. I'm trying to think of like something that I like that people don't understand. Shit. I know people give me shit about something. What is it? I don't know. I do love though, the apes in Italy, the 3-wheeled like little farm truck things.
Okay.
They're like minis.
Okay.
They're super weird. If I would import one and drive it around Park City.
Yeah. That's totally different than a slingshot, right?
Totally different. I do not. Yeah. Slingshots are not my thing. No.
Yeah. I got kind of shocked when I went to Miami and saw the slingshot culture there.
They took over the rental game in Miami. Yeah.
If Warehouse was to host a celebrity guest for one day, who would it be?
Another good one. If Paul Newman could come back from the dead.
That works. I'm good with that. Yeah. Let's see here. This one will be a good one. If Warehouse were a cocktail, what would it be? I mean, you wanted the bar, so you got it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd say just like an old fashioned, like something easy and like chill. Yeah.
Nice. What kind of vessel would you put that in?
Rocks glass.
Just just simple rocks. I like it. I like it very clean. One ice cube or
just
one big ice cube. Okay, good. Yeah,
big square.
Okay. Let's see here. This is a good one. If you could host an event anywhere in the world for the Warehouse members, no budget. Well, there's probably not much of a budget anyway, but no budget. Where would it be?
I want to do an African safari rally with like air-cooled Porsches.
Okay.
Really bad.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Just got to make it
sounds
happen.
Like you got to make that sounds like that's at 2028 maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely on the dream list for sure.
I love that. Okay. Fill in the blank. Park City needs more
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, and what I mean by that is like locals energy. Everything is so tourist based.
I got you. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So something like cool and exciting. Main Street is so freaking cool. I live above Main Street and it could be way cooler. Yeah. You know?
I don't know if we're going to ever get away from the tourist vibe on Main Street, but
we'll still have it. But I think there could be pockets of cool stuff focused around locals. And then I think food could be better for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think the food scene could step up a notch here.
It's due.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So better food, right? Like, is that?
Yeah. I mean, better food, energy.
I think the energy part is really just like getting the people here out and coming together, which I think that's obviously one of your visions is for the Warehouse, which I think's been super successful. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what we try to push for sure. But like, it's again, the community's so awesome here. I'd love to see more community type of fun opportunities.
So let's see. What's the weirdest or coolest member request you've ever gotten?
Ooh.
You don't have to name names.
Yeah, I won't. Weirdest or coolest? Man, we're fortunate where we get to do some pretty cool stuff. I mean, we have like 3 or 4 300 SL goings in the club right now because a rally's coming through. So we get like cool stuff like that. I mean, we definitely get members telling us to drive their like $1 million cars and like, you should test it out. And that's pretty cool.
He's like, hey, Jake, you're like, go take my car.
I mean, I don't really partake in it usually.
Yeah.
Unless somebody like forces me to do it and then I'll do it. But I don't know. We've driven some really cool cars and I'm sure there's plenty of weird ones. I'd have to talk to my events team and I'm sure they'll tell you all sorts of weird
asks. What they're getting there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. So kind of I'd like to wrap this up, kind of ask you a few questions and they're kind of advice questions right now. But, you're a young guy, so usually you're I think you're my youngest guest. So this is actually pretty cool, but you've done a lot.
I turned 30 2 weeks ago. So,
okay. Well, at least you're 30. So
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
If you're 29, we wouldn't listen. We probably just X this part out of the podcast. Okay. So, and what I first do is I like to ask my guest advice for my about me or my company. So, how can 4C deliver an unmatched experience for today's luxury clients, especially with like what we're doing in the Auto Haus, but also for what we do as our bread and butter, right? Luxury homes.
Yeah. I think what you're doing like with Auto Haus and what I understand you to do with your luxury homes is like you're providing this very holistic, seamless experience to design, which is a very hard and like nuanced thing to do. And most people are not good at it. So if you can frame it up in a nice way and make it easy for somebody to make decisions and get excited about it, and obviously your end product is good, so you can execute it. I think that's like the difference from what I see with you guys versus others. Yeah,
and I think people, and this is something for you, like I don't think people put enough emphasis on just the relationship building with your clientele.
Totally.
Like to me, that's everything. Like there's always going to be. there's going to be a warehouse member that has an issue. There's going to be one of my clients has a problem, but if you can just deal with it and have that relationship and trust, you're going to work it out.
Yep. Yeah. You're going to make it right at the end of the day.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think a lot of people, ignore that, which is, I think that should be on the top of the list.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice let's see here. Let me go back here. Okay. What legacy do you hope Wheelhouse leaves in Park City and beyond?
If nothing else, I think, I hope Wheelhouse got a community together and got, around cars or in these different enthusiast passions. I just hope it creates a bunch of friendships, and business relationships. And it was a cool moment in time for Park City, to have opportunities to access these things and have a place that encourages you to do so and frames it up for you. So I don't know, but I think what we're doing is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great that's going to, it's the kind of the founding warehouse spot. And as I'm, excited to see it evolve around the country. So
yeah.
What advice would you give to your younger self starting out in this journey now that what you've been through?
Chill out. I don't know.
Enjoy the process.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm fortunate to be where I am at right now. And Wheelhouse has been awesome. So I generally think the decisions I made were I'm happy with them. I don't regret anything, but I was, for 4 years trying to build something to go while making less money than I used to make as a young kid is like, oh, what am I doing here? So I beat myself up about it pretty hard. But now I look back at those moments and they were like what defined this whole journey. So, I wish I would have just kind of relaxed and like,
yeah, I mean, I think, people like yourself and everybody that's an entrepreneur, it's really about that journey because the journey doesn't stop. There's not, like what's your peak? Like you get to that peak and there's just another peak.
If it stops, you're either retired or it didn't go well for you. And hopefully it doesn't regress. Yeah. So hopefully the journey continues to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Cause I find, that what people are like, oh man, you're so lucky. Look at your business. It's like, yeah, that's great. You're looking at it from today's paradigm, not the 20 years ago paradigm. Like how much effort and work it takes to get where you're at. And I'm sure you've been through some points that way you question whether it's the right move to move forward.
For sure. Plenty of different times. And I mean, even that first promontory event that you were talking about, you saw us at, there was 3 of us at the time and we had to bring 20 cars to make it feel good. So there's 3 of us working all day and all night.
But you made it work. You had no choice.
Yeah.
Events tomorrow.
Yep. We were super scrappy. We're still pretty scrappy. But I mean, that's the stuff that I look back at and like laugh and just the stuff we were able to pull off with.
I love it. Chill out, crew. Enjoy the journey. That's I think that's a good advice for everybody. So, well, thanks for doing the podcast. I invite listeners, anybody that ever wants to come by our collaboration center, give us a like on Instagram, YouTube, but especially, hey, if you want to learn more about the warehouse, I think everybody knows where to go. warehousemotorclub.com. I think it is. You guys are on Instagram. We'll share this video. And, like you say, if you're in Park City or want to learn more about the warehouse, I think it's a great place. So, thanks for coming and
thanks for having me.
Have fun, everybody. Let's go drive some roads. I guess I need what is it? For what Ferrari am I buying? 458 Spider. Let's go.
Yeah, there you go. It's just that easy, guys.
It's just that easy, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Cool.
Boom.